Episode 13 of DreamWorks Dragons Riders of Berk, When Lightning Strikes. A very good episode in my book. Not much plot related. It was more like a filler episode, but it added some new things, new ideas, new concepts. You can't really gripe too much about this episode.
Nope.
Pretty good. Basically, the dragons are crushing houses because they are large creatures.
And wooden structures can't really support them.
Yeah, depending on how they're made, there are some exceptions. And how you build it. But
yeah.
The huts on Berk are not really built for that. So, Hiccup gets the idea to build perches out of metal. Seems to have worked. Dragons are happy, houses aren't being destroyed, except for the one by the well. But
don't drink the water.
But overall, then lightning strikes and everything goes downhill from there. Thanks to one person. And Rebecca, who was that person? Yeah, Mildew.
Same old Mildew, just ragging on the dragons.
Not dragons this time, just dragon.
Yeah.
One. He's angry at Toothless. At the Night Fury. But
I'm sorry, if Thor would be ever glad of any dragon, it would be Toothless. As the unholy offspring of lightning and death itself, Thor would be like, freaking badass dragon!
yeah, and the fact that Hiccup trained it.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
And the fact that of all the colors in the world, he put red on Toothless' tail. Thor's a big fan of red. Why do you think he wears a red cape?
Avengers!
And mythology.
Yes.
9 times out of 10, Thor in mythology has a red cape around his shoulders.
I've never read the actual mythology. Now I'm going to look that up too, along with Indiana Jones.
And Loki's oftentimes depicted with not only the great golden helmet with the ram horns, but in green and black. And very tall and slender, with a staff or a spear.
But yeah, that's a great episode. It actually introduced some content that was actually taken from this episode and put into the second movie. Hiccup, along with the idea of perches, he suggests landing areas for dragons and like stables in the caves underneath the village, both of which we see in the second movie. So I applaud the continuity and building off of this concept. Because this is actually the first time that they actually try to cater towards the dragons in the whole series.
Yeah.
That's good.
They did some good mythology touching too, since Vikings were Nordic. A whole lot of Thor, especially with the Thor anger, because that's a big thing in mythology. Anytime there's a
not
thunderstorm.
Not even just Norse mythology. I mean, even in early America, we thought that lightning was a sign of God's wrath. And now we just know it's static.
And Zeus was the same concept.
Yeah.
So, and the appeasing the gods. Usually erecting a statue helps, but in this case in point, they decided to make it out of metal instead of... I would have made it out of stone, personally. Yeah. A stone statue is far better than a metal statue, but that's me. The point where the lightning shot off the hand was inaccurate because it would have just hit the hammer and gone straight down, but we have to make things more difficult.
Plot convenience, really.
But they did a good job bringing in Thor's wrath, because that's a very big part of mythology. Unlike the last episode, they brought in the mythology and they changed who Freya was.
Yeah.
Technically her name is Freyja, but...
Yeah, but they really had to do that because it's a kid show and you can't really talk about who she really was.
She's the same concept as Hera.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
But
she's the goddess of fertility.
Yeah. So...
And Thor's second mother. Beyond the frost giant. Because in actual mythology, Thor was the half-frost giant, not Loki.
Come on, Avengers.
Well, they had to change
Marvel.
things up
Really?
a bit and make it their own.
Plot.
So, I kind of
Convenient.
prefer Loki to be the Frost Giant, anyways, because he was actually adopted. He's only half Odin, and even then, he's a seed of infidelity. But in actual mythology, Loki is still a seed of infidelity and an outcast. He gets along better with Thor most of the time in the mythology. He's the little brother who has to just get into trouble a lot, but
Let's get back on track. We're
Yeah.
going off track again.
I'm still
But-
sort of on track, but
Talking about Thor, but yeah, I really enjoy the mythology and going into the god's wrath and trying to appease them. That was a good touch on history.
and the flat Earth joke was funny.
Oh yeah. Hey, guess what, flat earthers? Vikings got it right.
Yeah, to appease Odin,
Yeah.
of course. They still didn't understand why she kept coming up on the other side.
But it's a
But-
nod like,
Eventually, they'll figure that out when they start exploring.
yeah, I mean, look at Leif Erikson. Greenland ring a bell to anybody? Iceland? Even though Greenland is actually icy and
No,
Iceland.
they did that on purpose.
Yeah, to mess people up.
Yeah. They sent all the people to the bad place that was covered in ice, Greenland. And that way, they kept the nice place, Iceland, to themselves.
Yeah, because...
And actually, now it's reversing.
Really?
Yeah, Iceland is getting icy and Greenland is getting green.
Is the volcanic activity in Iceland dying down?
A little bit.
I have to move the
Also,
Iceland
global warming,
now. Oh, yeah, true.
causing atmospheric changes.
Which is also
But-
true. I don't know what you people...
At one point in time, Iceland was icy and Greenland was green. But when the Vikings found it and named it, it was not.
Yeah, because climate change,
Mhm.
due to the natural patterns of the
Yeah.
planetary cycle.
And when ice ages occurred and
Yeah,
whatnot, it's a whole
we're going on to
topic.
geology and
Yeah.
planetary science now.
Yeah.
But
It's a whole other animal there, but
yeah, but this episode, pretty good. A lot of history in it.
mm-hmm.
Good bit of mythology.
A bit
Mildew.
of problem solving.
Yes, and sort of ushering in the Age of Enlightenment a bit with
Yeah.
Hiccup.
Yeah.
Because,
And really bringing down the fact that they're in the Iron Age. I mean,
yeah,
where do they keep getting all this metal?
they might just maybe trading for it?
I
I could accept
for
it if
all
they-
that amount, they'd have to be both trading and mining. which we see
Good
none of.
point. Yes, we do know they trade with Trader Johann.
Yeah. There'd have to be more than just Johann, though,
Yes,
for that much metal. So
So
they have to
maybe
be
they-
mining, but we don't see any of that.
unfortunately, I think that could have actually been a good episode if they did touch on
Yeah. I mean, we already know they have a crap ton of caves.
that. But yeah,
The only import thing we see is Trader Johann. They go
Which is-
catching fish, and they have a whole bunch of barn animals.
yeah, sheep, yaks, chickens, and you can't really trade those because those are valuable.
Yeah, and we don't know how they make clothes, beyond the fact that Gobber got his hands on silk and made underwear.
I think them possibly woolen.
Yeah, it's probably wool, but you don't see anybody spinning the wool or shearing the sheep.
Well, yeah. Although if Valka didn't get taken off, I mean, maybe we could have seen her doing domestic things
Yeah.
with maybe Astrid's parents. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
So do some more like culture building.
Mm-hmm.
Show us what happens in the
We
typical.
need some background.
Yeah.
Beyond the old lady doing creepy stuff and the old man being annoying and Gobber. It can't just be all up to Gobber. Seriously.
Really, I mean,
There has to be background stuff beyond people fishing.
people fishing, raising animals,
Mulching
farming.
bucket raising animals. Yeah. It can't be just those characters. It has to be background
Yeah.
going on.
I mean, heck-
you see it, but it's like...
It's in the background. You
Yeah.
can acknowledge
you
that it's
can
happening.
acknowledge that it's happening, but you don't have to talk about it. You just have to put it there.
Yeah, like a woman who is shearing a sheep or spinning the wool.
Yeah, I mean,
I would be happy with that.
'Cause
Like,
based
okay,
upon what
that
we
happened.
see-
Thank you.
they shouldn't actually be able to live as well as they are. Because we don't see anything beyond these few details. And
Unfortunately.
it's because we see them because they talk about it because they have main characters to talk about it.
Yeah.
main characters and secondary characters. But the background characters, they run from dragons and scream. And put fires out.
Yeah, or at least try to.
Really? They need to do more here.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, having a Viking woman spinning the wool, I don't know if they had actual spinning wheels, but something equivalent.
Spinning wheels were an invention of the Iron Age.
Okay, so they might have them. They might have... Maybe Hiccup could actually invent one, since we don't know if they would trade to get
They already
those.
have pulleys, so they definitely have a spinning wheel.
True, so.
And before spinning wheels, you hand spun it.
Yeah, so there's really no excuse to leave that out. I mean, I understand trying to keep on task, but you can add in a few other details that would make this
background details do a lot.
Yeah, I mean, read any good fantasy book. There's always something there that makes it more believable.
Yeah.
But we're nitpicking at this point. I understand keeping on task, but it's just something I would like to see. If this whole series was remade toward adults, say a live action thing, that would be great if actually the first, say 10, 20 years from now, they remade this whole series into a live action thing. I would be absolutely thrilled with that. Because at that point CGI would have advanced so far.
You'd have something like Avatar, and that would be like crazy.
Yeah, that would be great to see in this universe.
Could you imagine the detail they would put into Toothless's scales?
Oh dear God.
More than they already have.
Yeah, the first movie was so amazing with the detail.
Because the close-ups, oh my God, the close-ups. This would be so much...
The second movie even with the close-ups.
Yeah!
Heck, 10, 20 years into the future, if they remade all this, I wouldn't be upset.
Could you imagine the fire and the ice from the dragon breath?
Oh yeah, the Bewilderbeast. Dear
God.
Yeah,
that would be epic.
Yeah, that would...
Could you imagine watching it in 3D at like an IMAX theater?
Oh dear God, I saw the original How to Train Your Dragon in 3D. That would be freaking shot to the stratosphere.
It'd be like better than Jurassic Park.
Jurassic
3D.
World, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be better than the
3D.
T-Rex getting really close to you.
Yeah, that would be amazing. If DreamWorks, if you're watching this for some reason, pay attention to us. Get in contact with us. We have some great ideas. Just make a note. Put a notification in for so many years down the road. Pay attention to this. That would be amazing to see. I would love to work on that.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be... Imagine seeing a Monstrous Nightmare full blaze.
Oh my, that would be glorious. The only thing that would be missing would be to feel the heat.
4D. Have you heard of the 4D IMAX theaters where there's like actual wind
I've
and
been
the
in
heat?
one that they're kind of, for some people, they're scary.
And the seats move. I've never been in one myself, but I've heard. Imagine seeing a remake of the first movie in a 4D IMAX theater.
That would be outrageous.
Yeah. I mean, have you heard of the Arena Spectacular thing they did with the animatronics dragon?
No.
If I can, I'll put a link up here to a trailer. But based on the trailer, it's really good. I didn't get to see it, but the trailers looked really good. They had, I believe, based on the previews, at least 7 full-size animatronic dragons.
Nice.
And they look really good. And if they did that on the scale of Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, even with all the CG, that would be amazing. I mean, yeah, you could change a few things here and there to keep it like original, but in some cases, remakes do work. If they're done well, they will do work. But we're really not even on this episode anymore. We're ranting about a possible remake that we would love to see made. But I can't really say any more about this particular episode. I can just keep going on about the live-action remake of Dragons. But, well, we're going to end this here. We're at 14 minutes, roughly. Almost 15. But, yeah, next episode, oh, you're going to like the next episode. You remember the Terrible Twos and how much we didn't like that one? That's basically our answer to the Terrible Twos. So you will enjoy this one, and you're going to love the dragon. Question: have you seen Tremors?
Yeah, part of it. I couldn't get through it.
Well, this is basically Dragon's take on that.
Okay. Probably will be better.
I love the Tremors movies, but
So does my dad.
my grandfather loves them as well, but he only watches them for the guns.
Yeah, that's my dad's thing too.
But yeah, we're gonna go watch that. If you guys have any ideas for a possible How to Train Your Dragon live action remake, put it down in the comments. I love to read them. Well, until then, see ya.